From time to time, God visits us very concretely through people. In fact, I am thinking that one of the privileged forms we have to receive the presence of God is through a real friend. I say this because it is so human to love. It is so human to suffer. It is so human to forgive, need to be forgiven. It is so human to make mistakes. And the friend is with whom we divide the dynamics of these verbs daily. When I speak friend, I put the possibility that we have a mother who is also a friend, a father who is also a friend. In proper proportions, a friendship that does not overshadow the fundamental role of that person in our lives. The father's first role is not to be a friend. It is to be a father. But he can be a friendly father. When we find in someone the possibility of combining Christian mystique in such a concrete, so real, so true way. When someone, by the mystery of being who he is, accompanies us, when someone, in the mystery of being who he is, relieves our existence. I don't like to judge on others the responsibilities that are ours. I am aware that some things I need, only I can offer myself. By the way, much of what I need, only I can offer myself. It is very unfair that I ask the other to give me what I can only give. For example, self-love. Right? Am I the first to manage the love that lives within me? My personal experience of being who I am? And have to manage the meaning every day for my existence. I am the one who I have to abandon every day the illusion that life is perfect, that I will have a wonderful life, that everything will be splendid. It is me who I need to manage daily the understanding that everything is marked by the limit, and that even being marked by the limit, life can be good. I don't have to wait for the other that my life is good because of him. No. The first step for this is here inside my heart. In my head. When I do my personal hygiene, just as I need to wash my face, I also need to wash my soul every day, so that all the illusions that this life should be perfect, that everything will be wonderful, that everything will be splendid. No, it's not like this. So, every day I need to make it fall apart, which is not true. Have you ever stopped to think that we are often not happy because we spend much of our time idealizing life? Idealizing situations, realities, or even committing this cruel crime of always preparing for the future, a joy that should be lived today. It's that lie we listen to. Life starts at 40. That's a lie. Life begins all the time. As if at 40 we had a position to interpret what happened as something that was not worth it. With the possibility of projecting a future as if life is now valid. No, life is worth all the time. Even when we experience the most atrocious of all the pain, when we experience death, life is always worth it. I don't have the right to stay here today, projecting a joy for the future without interest in the daily life around me. This is my meaning. Just as I need to wash my face every morning, I need to wash my soul so that all the excesses that, unfortunately, I put and allow them to put on it. It is the first step, my people, so that life is possible. It is the first step for us to be able to manage existence with all the burdens that are on themselves. And we cannot give up the burdens that are proper to existence. There is no direction ready. That's why I like Christianity so much. Because it doesn't deceive us. Because Jesus understands life as it really is. It can be wonderful, it can. But it can also be very sad. And it is in the architecture of these two possibilities that we position ourselves with the responsibility, then, to live with dignity what was proposed to us today. And so we are friend. So we are father. So we are brother. That there are sufferings that are by our side, that as much as we are sympathetic to that suffering, the pain remains from the other. It is the limit. It's the limit that the father needs to face every day with his son, looking at that child leaving with his backpack to go to school. And the father is unable to save that child from all the sufferings he will have to face on that day. This is how we love many times, wanting to put a protection bead so that the other does not suffer what we need to suffer to be who we are. But then we commit an injustice. If you withdraw what you have suffered, if you retire the struggles that you truly had to crash to be who you are today, you would not have worked very well in life. you would not have worked very well in life. So, in the gesture of wanting to love and protect, we want to deprive each other of living what will really grow it. Have you observed how we do this when we love? Then we offer the other a love that unprotects. Many times our protection is a dislike, because by surrounding each other of all attention and affection so that it does not suffer, we are depriving precisely from the most human element, what we can. That is undeniable in our condition. That it is precisely the fact that we are limited. Today I had to live a day surrounded by my limits. Physical limits, personal, human, psychic, emotional limits. And yet, I had to handle life. My friends are part of this process, but the first step is always mine. This is where God lives, my people. And this motivation, this is where conversion needs to happen. And what we need to ask God every day. We do not want it to modify our life. We want Him to change who we are. Because if He changes who we are, it is very likely that naturally we change the life we live. This is where God needs to act, in this central core, where the self lives. If we can locate where I live, everything you are goes through your head. That's why I always say that conversion is here. It's the way we think, it's the way we look at the Father, it's the way we look at the child, it's the way we look at those we love. That's why Christianity is so concrete, because it changes our way of loving. Okay, I want to love. I want to love beside it. I want to love, but without depriving him of the suffering. And I want to be mature enough to understand that life is, anyway. That I do not have the right to create a victim spirit within me who will justify me as an eternal failed. Because sometimes this happens, my people. Life, when it is lasting for each of us, seems to use it gives the right of a victim certificate that we will always present to justify our lack of courage, our lack of mobility, our lack of hope. It is not to be so. No one promised us that it would be easy. At no time did Jesus promise his disciples that it would be easy. See the language he used. Pay a visit to the Gospels, and you will see that at no time did Jesus talk about fighting, sword, painful processes, cross. I do not identify even with some perspectives, some ways to interpret Christianity. When you identify that God is blessing you just because you are getting rich, just because you are getting rid of problems. You identify that God is being a blessing in your life because he makes you winner all the time. Okay, it is no problem you think of victory as a vocation that God gives us. But we do not have the right to detach the victory of the fighting process. We do not have the right to say tithing in this church, and from now on you will be a man and a blessed woman. This is not how God acts. Or even identify that failure is often identified as a lack of God's presence in our lives. No. Often failure is a natural process of the choices we make, and God will be there on our side at the time of failure. I am not devilish at the time of my failure. I cannot identify the poverty of the other as a manifestation of the non-predilection of God for him. No, God is in all these places. God is with the failed. God is with the poor. God is in misery. There where the miserable is, God is present. And if by chance, we, with our attitude, be able to break the power of that misery by virtue of our commitment, which is always awarded. I like to say that all human action, which is promoting good, which is a victory, transformation, is already naturally blessed. It is the grace of God acting on us. I cannot be good without the grace of God acting on me. Even for me to regret my sins, I need the action of grace on me. And to identify that this process is human, it is natural. And I cannot oppose what is human in me, because it is in the welcome of this humanity that God will react. This is how he visits our life through friends that give us the right word, who encourage us. recall us that we have to establish this pact daily with existence, for our religion to be fruitful, my people, so that we are not victims of an alienating discourse, a discourse that disapproves of us from human responsibilities, which is embraced to divine graces